There we go. Hello.
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 Hello. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Thank you. Thanks, Chief.
I just got a phone call from Shane Massoud that he didn't get the information, so I just sent it to him. The ID and the password. So hopefully he will have gotten online. He's from Caltrans, Shane.
Christina, was that your car in the parking lot?
Yes. I was still working.
And here I am.
I just got home.
Yeah.
I was still working. I know.
You girls work too much.
Never a dull moment.
Oh my goodness.
And then I promised one of my kids his gift certificate today, so I had to keep my promise and drive it to his house. You know me, Mrs. Brooke never breaks her promises.
Okay, what's the call-in number? Oh, there, call 669. I'll write that. I'll send that to him. 669 900 9. Whoops. 900 6833. 6833. Okay. Hi, Matthew.
Hi. Everybody looks so
What do we look?
so excited.
Oh,
I mean, the last 9 months has definitely taken its toll on us, hasn't it?
yeah, right.
We're working harder than ever at school.
I know. Tell me about it. Me too.
I just got home.
Well, I work from home and
Do you mind if I turn on the AC
I
a little
never
bit?
stop, you
I'm
know.
like burning up. I don't know if I'm getting sick or what, but I'm.
Okay,
Somebody's
Shane is in. Shane said
Yeah, I'm
he's
here.
in.
Who's
Hear me?
Shane?
I hear you, Shane.
Who is
Cool.
Shane?
Shane is the gentleman from Caltrans that's going to be taking our questions tonight and taking them back to Caltrans.
Oh, great.
Okay. So I think we're getting up on, my clock says 6 o'clock. How about everybody else? We all
Yep.
set? Okay. Good evening, everyone. I would like to start the Morongo Valley Community Services District Board of Directors regular board meeting of November the 18th, 2020. Roll call, Mr. Yearsley.
He's joining the meeting right now.
He's
Okay.
not on yet.
Okay, cool.
They just started roll call, Gary.
Okay. You ready for it?
Yes.
Yeah, we're ready.
Gail Swart,
Here.
Christina Brooke,
Here.
Matthew Campos,
Here.
Lori Klimowitz,
Here.
and Johnny Tolbert.
Here.
Okay. Would you all please join in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of
the United States of America and to the republic
for
for
which
which
it
it
stands,
stands,
one
One
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty
and
justice
justice
for all.
for all. How in the world do all those music instrument people or choruses come in when they're on Zoom and all come together just perfectly? Approval of the agenda. We have a couple things to add to the agenda. I'd like to add as number 4 under 3 under agency reports, Mr. Masood and Caltrans. So that'll be 3 and 4. What do you want that called, Matthew? Just the park report or park?
Yeah, I guess that'd be fine.
Okay. And then so that risk management will be 5, fire apparatus will be 6, and Morongo Valley funding will be 7. Is everybody agreeable on that?
Gail,
I have
can
a
you just
motion?
repeat what the 2 things are again? 3 is what?
3 is Caltrans, Mr.
Okay.
Masood. 4 is the park,
Okay.
and then 5, 6, and 7 are what 3, 4, and 5 were before.
Okay.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So move with the corrections.
Second.
Second, or Matthew seconded.
Matthew, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Sheriff's report. I don't believe we have a sheriff online. Director of Operations report, Mr. Yearsley.
Okay, so first thing I have is we want to thank Estelle and Debbie for working so hard to get the freezer for the fire department that was donated by Home Depot. The fire department guys love it. They have more room than they have ever had. They're able to buy things in bigger quantity. So it was just really nice to have. It was kind of hard to get in the back because it was very heavy because it was large, but it ended up fitting. We didn't have to do any electrical changes. It was just a great help for them. Then I had in my report was set up before we had talked to Caltrans. I was going to just mention that I had talked to them on the delineators, the median and Bella Vista. Those questions can be asked to him as he comes up later on, so that we can see what kind of things that can be done. Then the last thing I had was Johnny had asked about the check for Yermo, and what we were waiting on was Curtis made a mistake on invoices for some reason that were accepted, and the invoice amounts went in wrong as the wrong amount for Yermo and the wrong for us. So we resubmitted those, and it took a little while for OES to get that corrected. We expect by the 1st of December or the first part of December to have that finalized done in the check to them. On the calls, we had 26 EMS calls, 25 to ALS, 1 to BLS. On our fire calls, we had 0 structure calls, which was nice. We had a vehicle and 3 debris calls. Traffic collision, we had 2 injury, 2 non-injury. Hazmat, we had 1 electrical during the high wind storm that we had. We had 11 incidents that we either did not found or were canceled en route. We had 3 public assists. On our training, we've had, it's pretty much the same stuff each month. I'll touch base on a few of these. Our fire training, you know, we work with all the time with training with hose and tools and a selection for each one of the calls. The PPE drills, of course, with the COVID, we've got to make sure the guys are always wearing the right stuff. We worked with auto extrication, utility shutoffs during major events of any kind to do with electrical or car accidents or in a house fire. We have Mayday calls, which are what we do when we're having problems on scene or somebody's down or someone's hurt. fire ground communications, because we use different radio channels for working with CAL FIRE and with our fire crews that are out. We work on building construction, rapid intervention training, salvage and overhaul after the fires, wildland training, which we've been through a lot of that this summer, company officer training, leadership and ethics training, supply line operations, search and rescue operations, ventilation, and radio communications. And in the medical training, of course, with COVID, again, there's a lot of things we have to be careful for and of that now. So decontamination, infectious control, ALS assist, cardiac monitor, trauma, obstetrics, patient assessment, and then physical training to keep the guys up to par and in shape. We do the wildland card pack test and the crew daily workouts. They have a trail they call Old Glory that they do a pack hike on, carrying 50-pound packs. Crew weightlifting and CrossFit for 231 and a half hours. And then we had 2 people go into driver 1B that passed now, and we have more drivers. And then I just wanted to hit on what we did this year in our fire assignments. We did a lot this year. We were on the Pitzer fire on 7/17 through 7/18 with the water tender. Our type 3 was up at Yucca for 8/1 through 8/9. I was on the Apple fire from 8/3 to 8/16. At the ICP, we were on the Lake fire with our type 3, which is the brush engine. I should mention that. Both of those 2 calls were brush engine. And that was from 8/13 to 8/23. Then we were on the SCU Lightning Complex fire, 8/23 to 8/28 with our type 3 and our brush engine. We were on the El Dorado fire with a water tender from 9/9 to 9/22. And then we were back up at Yucca as station coverage from 9/9 to 9/18. So that is the most coverage and fires and strike teams and water tender assignments that Morongo Valley's ever had before in 1 year. I estimate, we never know till we get paid, but I estimate the total amount with the payroll and everything, we should receive back around $300,000. A lot of that, not a lot of that, but some of that, a good portion of that will go to labor that we've already had to pay out. So there still will be a big amount coming in so we can, get our trucks upgraded and some things done this year. We hope to look into maybe getting another type 3 brush engine. The guys are really tried hard and worked hard to try and get that this year. So we all should thank them for all the time they put in. Thank you.
Just out of curiosity, Gary, what is Wildland Red Card Pack Tests? What is that?
Well, when the guys have to get out, and when they are getting their red cards, they carry packs all the time when they're out on wildland. So when they go out, they have to go out and do a pack test, which is so far so long with so much weight. That's why they go out and do the 50-pound hikes up on the Old Glory. Because when they do go out on wildland, they are carrying a lot of equipment. So that's what that is. And that's just to get them ready for what they do. And they actually had to do this year. The guys had to carry some very large packs, and they're carrying packs with hose in it, which is very heavy when they're out on wildland.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for our Director of Operations?
Oh, lay down. Don't lay down.
Do I have a motion to approve the Director of Operations report?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Now I would like to bring on Shane, where did I have that written down here somewhere? To to take the questions people have for Caltrans. Shane Massoud is on the line with us. So if any of the directors have some questions, or Jim, if there's anybody in the audience that has some questions, please have them raise their hand or do whatever it is they do so we can acknowledge and have them give us what they'd like.
Gail, do we have a written list from Carla? I don't see her here tonight.
I don't think so. Did you get anything, Christina?
You're muted.
No, but I remember what her concerns were from last meeting.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
I'm
So
here on
Shane-
the line. So, yeah.
Okay, thanks, Shane. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, no, thank you for the invite. I really appreciate it. I'm glad. I wish it could be in person like we all do. But thank you for having me. And if I real quick before I take any questions, if I could just kind of introduce myself. So again, as Gail introduced me, my name is Shane Massoud. I work for Caltrans District 8. Right now, I'm currently serving as the Governmental and Legislative Affairs Liaison for the department. Prior to that, I was working as the Maintenance Public Information Officer. I've been with Caltrans just over almost 3 years now. Prior to that, I was working for one of the California State Senators, Mike Morrell, representing the 23rd Senate District as a field representative. So, and I worked with him for about 4 years. So that's kind of a little bit about who I am. We are right now in your area just doing some winter prep work. Right now, we don't see any storms on the horizon. We just had that one, as you guys are all aware of, a week and a half ago. But we're going through making sure our culvert's all cleared out. We're trying to address any potholes out there on the 62 or the 10 or the 247 or 177, all those different highways out there. We're doing some crack sealing work as the temperatures decrease. We're trying to mitigate any unnecessary expansion in the asphalt. We're also out there working on trying to strengthen any of the embankments along the highway, which will in turn strengthen the integrity of the actual surface of the road. So that's kind of what our maintenance guys have been doing out there over the past couple of weeks, just getting ready for that next storm to roll through, because we all know how quickly that can happen. Gail did mention to me about the delineation issue, but I would really appreciate if I'm still a little new to the area. If that is a question, if someone would be willing to kind of highlight some of the things that are of concern with that.
Okay, do any of the board members want to speak first, and then we'll have people from the public?
I have a couple of questions.
Okay, Johnny.
In the past, it was said we were going to have 7 and 8 foot signs, reflective signs at the ends of the curves and the raised curb medium for turn areas to let people know when turn areas are coming up at night. Also, I know one of the concerns of our citizens were we've lost most of the delineators. How are they being placed out? They're being placed out with glue, or they're being placed with bolts? Because it seems like we keep losing them. And at night, you really can't see those raised curb medians at night without something on to reflect.
Right.
Sure. Okay. Real quick, Johnny, how can I get in contact with you? Would you be willing to share an email or a phone number?
Sure.
So I can.
Yes, anytime. If you like
Over the phone, or should I?
No, I'll get you all that information, Shane, for the directors.
Okay, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
I know, so just briefly, I'll look into this, but I do know when those delineations were first installed, when that raised curb median was built, they were glued to that surface. And I know that in recent years that they continued to glue them, but because of the issue that you just highlighted, the fact that they do just kind of keep disappearing, whether that be wind or unfortunately drivers hitting it, we are looking into a different method of installing those so that they are more permanent and there doesn't seem to be this frequent loss of the delineation, but I'll get back to you on exactly what our new method is on installing those.
Thank you, sir.
Great.
Yeah,
That would
absolutely.
be great. Because
Yeah.
one of our citizens pointed out that if we have a raised curb meridian, the traffic laws say that there's supposed to be delineators on it.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Thank you.
basically it's
Yeah.
not doing its job right now. And in the dark of the night with no reflectors, it can be very dangerous.
Yeah, I think that's one of the
Yeah,
biggest problems.
absolutely.
You can't see them at night.
Okay.
Is Caltrans, I've noticed that it seems like the dirt and sand is piling up in the areas that are supposed to let the water through, which means the water will come over the top and when we have rain and maybe
Yeah.
cause some problems.
Yeah.
Are they working on that too, Shane?
Yeah, that is definitely one of our kind of storm mitigation efforts, is making sure any kind of pileup of that sand or debris is removed. But if there's a specific area that you know of, I mean, please reach out to me. That way I can kind of direct them. I can ask the maintenance guys to go examine that area and address that.
Okay.
Because, as of right now, they're just kind of systematically going through the entire route. So if there's an area that maybe looks of more concern, absolutely they'll go out and look at it. And then if they need to adjust their existing schedule, they'll do so accordingly.
So
And
Shane, what I understand you saying is that you're doing regular annual maintenance, potholes, in the middle and the edges and all that. I kind of like to see more than just whatever the maintenance is. And if you say that they are looking at, if it needs more work, who's making that determination?
It would depend on the specific issue. So with regarding the potholes,
Ooh, yeah.
so we have our platform, which it's the customer service request website. It's the CSR website. So that's a website where yourself or someone like myself could go in and put in a customer service request saying, hey, there's a pothole at this location and it needs to be addressed. But for more widespread kind of pavement repairs, what happens on a I'm not sure exactly the schedule. I do believe it's kind of it might be every other month. We have a maintenance engineering department, and they'll go with the maintenance engineer. We'll go with the superintendents for each one of our maintenance facilities, and they'll actually drive the routes together.
Yeah, I'm
And the
curious,
maintenance
when's the last time you've actually seen this part of 62 yourself?
I was just out there in March prior to COVID hitting, and we couldn't be together.
Yeah.
I could come back to the next one. I do have some information with regarding some relatively large pavement rehabilitation projects that are actually be coming through the 62
Okay.
area. Or I could
I'm
email
not
that to you.
trying to
I'm
be
sorry.
selfish for our area.
No.
This is one of the most highly traveled highways in the country. And it really has gotten bad enough to where
Sure.
I kind of drive on the shoulder, sort of, so I don't get my tires popped.
Yeah, sure. May I ask who I'm speaking with right now?
This is Lori Klimowitz. I'm one of the directors.
Okay, great. Thanks for the question, Laura. Yeah, when Gail provides me with kind of your guys' email address, I can send you that information of some of that upcoming pavement work. That's going to be starting here in the 2021 year.
All right,
Shane, this is Christina Brook, and I'm one of the board members as well. I live kind of like in Midtown, right where the Bella Vista light is. And so
Okay.
I have to turn from coming like up the hill from Palm Springs, let's say, and then I turn left Bella Vista, so that turn lane. Can somebody please check the timing of that left-hand turn? Because I've been stuck out there for 3 turns and it never turns green for me to turn left. And sometimes I've
Okay.
actually had to just go because I've been just sitting there for 15 minutes in the middle of the highway.
Okay, and
So
so that's
Oh,
that you're
I
on
got the
you're
one,
on the you're on the 62 turning left onto
have
Bella
Jim put it
Vista.
up on the screen.
correct.
Okay, got it.
I'll
that-
ask him when we're,
So that's a little bit of a thing. And then
okay.
I don't know if you've been coordinating this or not, but I've been noticing a wonderful thing, which is giant piles of dirt are being put on Bella Vista and Navajo Trail, which are super bad streets. And that's, if that's like, you know, when they're cleaning up the sand or something and then they need a place to dump it, like by all means, dump it on our Bella Vista, Navajo. Rawson's another really bad road. So if you, instead of hauling away, you know, the sand that you're scooping up maybe with bulldozers or
Yeah.
whatever, our
Yeah.
local well, trails or streets or whatever you want to call them could really use the
Yeah.
extra fill dirt if you don't want to haul it all, you know, to some place way far away. And I've
Yeah,
been
I'll have to
piles.
speak with the guys and see if they have some type of coordination with the county guys on doing that. So that way, when we do, if we do that, the county guys are there to make sure they smooth it all out. You said Bella Vista, was it
Bella
Ross?
Vista Navajo
Ro-
Trail, we're getting like piles of dirt, which is really wonderful. I don't really actually know where it's coming from right now, but we have
Okay.
a couple of, you know, we're in the country, so we got a couple guys with bobcats and tractors and things, and they spread
Oh, perfect.
out on the highway, and we're always in desperate need for fill dirt. So
Okay.
that'd be great if you don't want to haul it off to someplace else. We could use it right here
Okay.
locally.
Yeah.
And the other
Okay,
thing
Christine,
is,
yeah.
speaking of traffic lights, another concern we had at the last meeting was the Pinellas traffic light. We feel like the Highway 62, the way it goes, there's a lot of times that the cross street turns green, you know, really fast, and semi trucks haven't had a chance to stop, you know, that are going 60 miles an hour through the light. And we've had a lot of
Yeah.
people have accidents there. So I don't know if the timing of that light could be longer so that the cross street doesn't, you know, go as fast and possibly get hit by
Yeah.
the cross traffic.
Okay.
It's really bad.
How-
I mean, Lori and I work at the school, and I've almost been hit 3 times at least. So
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it seems like the red and green turn at the same time. Maybe they can delay the green by a couple seconds.
Okay. What was the name? I missed the name of the street.
that street's Pinellas, Senillis.
Okay. Thank
Maybe
you.
one else.
For a long time, that was the only street light we had in town. So that's that one. Another concern that we
Okay.
have, and we don't even know if this is Caltrans or not, but in front of our school, we only have one school in Morongo Valley, and it's on Hess Boulevard, HESS Boulevard. And
Okay.
people speed through there like they slide stop at the end because they're going so fast, and it's a T that goes off into the
Yeah.
desert. And we were wondering if somebody can look into putting speed bumps in there. And also at Pinellas and, help me out, I think it's not Juniper, Pinellas and the other cross street that currently only has 2 stop signs.
Yes.
And the
Okay.
cross traffic is always crashing into each other there.
Oh, it's
So
Hess.
That's
It's
Pinellas
Hess.
and Christina.
that's
Hess
Pinellas and
and
Hess,
Pinellas.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been hit
Pinellas and
there,
Hess.
exactly.
So
That should give
That could be
we're having a
okay.
lot of accidents at that intersection at Pinellas and Hess.
Yeah, we
Okay.
should look
All right,
into if we can get that a four-way
Currently, it's
stop.
only
There's a lot of
controlled by a
accidents there.
2-way stop sign, but we'd love to have a 4-way stop.
Most definitely.
Okay.
So I've actually been hit there, so yes, a four-way stop there would be great.
Yeah. I'll definitely look into that and see if that's under our purview for sure.
Okay,
This is-
and if it's not, if you could let us know who we need to put
Yeah,
those concerns
yeah.
to.
this
Sure.
is
Yeah.
Lauren
I mean-
Lewis again. I see that
I,
Brittany,
th- I think the paved streets are county, so we might have to get in touch with the county because the county does maintain some of the streets. So, but we'll see
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, a lot
Shane,
of
if it's
Caltrans'
yours.
purview is, yeah, a lot of the Caltrans purview is on State Route 62, all the state routes and interstates. Some of the, obviously there's county roads that run into state routes. So those areas I'll have to look into, but a
Okay.
lot of our purview is just to the state routes and interstate.
Sorry, what?
So would you have purview over those two stoplights, the one at Pinellas and the one at Buena Vista?
I don't know off the top of my head. I apologize, but I will look into that for you.
Those
And-
stoplights are on 62.
Then we probably more than likely do
I know
have
the
jurisdiction
one
and
that,
timing.
Anyone over
I
there?
know the one at Bella Vista is definitely owned by the state, because Caltrans put that one in after we had a few meetings discussing it, because we had looked at putting one in at Rawson, and they said they couldn't do that. And so they did. So Caltrans did put in the one at 62 in Buena Vista. I know the state
Okay,
did that for a fact.
Okay, cool. Thank you for the insight. Appreciate that.
Okay.
Do any of the,
Yes, I have something.
okay, Matthew.
Yeah, hi Shane, this is Matthew Campos. I also sit on the board.
Oh, okay.
And-
Nice to meet you, Matthew.
Nice to meet you too. Thanks for being here. We have two, well, other than Bella Vista, there's two other crosswalks that cross 62. One of them is at the lighted intersection at Pinellas, and the next one is just a block east at 62 and Park, which is controlled only by a flashing yellow light. And
Okay.
that is a popular crosswalk because it takes you right down to the park.
Right.
We recently had a young boy that was hit and severely injured at that intersection. And it is one that I think would definitely qualify for those emergency flashers and the street flashers or something when
Yeah.
pedestrians need to cross that particular intersection.
Okay. All right. So you said that's the Pinellas crosswalk then.
No, sir, that's
No.
a Park and 62.
Right by the fire
Okay,
station. The fire station
All right,
has
I
like
apologize.
a flashing yellow there.
Okay, I missed the name of the street again. I heard 62, but what was the name of the street?
Park Street.
Park.
Park.
Park
Okay,
Avenue.
thank you.
Mhm.
It's Park Avenue.
Park Avenue, right.
This is
So-
Lori
62.
Klimowitz again. I'd like to read, Brittany posted in our chat here the comments from our citizen from last meeting. If it's okay with you guys, I'd like to just read it because I know
Yes, please.
you can't see it. Okay, this is, I believe this is what Carla was talking about. Let's see. She says, I have found that according to Transportation Systems Engineering Lecture 31, Channelization, page 10, author Dr. Tom Matthew, February 19th of 2014, quote, traversable raised curb medians should always be used with reboundable reflectorized vertical panels. The areas on Highway 62 where these raised curb medians are located, most of the reflectors are missing. I am very concerned and fearful that this is going to cause a terrible accident on the highway, especially at night. There are no reflectors at all on the majority of the medians, and it is extremely difficult to see them at night. It is my educated guess that the reflectors have failed somehow to stay in place, maybe due to the extreme heat in our area causing them to become loose and blow away. I find it curious that there is nothing left where they were installed after they are gone. We need to have the reflectors replaced and figure out why they failed to stay in place, which I know, Shane, you have already addressed. The reflectors were effective, and we should contact Caltrans or the Department of Transportation to make them replace the reflectors on our highway and also reinforce them to make sure they do not disappear again. Another person said, it is imperative that these concerns and problems are fixed before the winter months kick in. Too many accidents are occurring and I don't want my daughters to get hurt again. It is really so wrong that California has all of this money and this is a federal highway. They have absolutely no recourse for the ones that are getting into accidents. My daughters, I don't I'm sorry. I can't, I'm losing where I was reading. Okay. You all need to raise awareness and stop this, especially since it's so obvious that it can be fixed or prevented. So anyway, I'm reading those for you, Shane, to show that citizens have come to our meetings, and if one citizen has come and spoken up, they're probably representing at least 100 people.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Shane, you can see the reflector problem is on everybody's mind. Because when we had
Yeah.
the reflectors there, they really worked good. They really worked great, especially at night. It was so nice to see those reflectors and know that that's where, you know, where you can't go.
Yeah,
Are there
absolutely not.
are there any questions from people who are in the chat room or who want to speak? No one, there's no one else. Jim, was there anybody else?
I have had my hand raised.
Okay. Who are you? Tell us your name.
This is Bobby Talbert.
Oh, hi, Bobby.
Hi, guys. Anyways, I just wanted to kind of also mention that you guys really need to keep the water flow areas clean, because right there by Willie Boys, every time, like going up towards Yucca Valley from Willie Boys, every time we get bad rain, that ends up flooding and becomes a major accident area, because once the water starts rising, you can't see the dividers. You are trying to go through it and you're sliding because there's sand underneath the water, and it's really unsafe. My other concern is there some way that we can make more awareness to the speed limits on 62? We have in through town is 50 miles an hour, but just today we were driving down and somebody went flying by us going at least 80 miles an hour. And it's like, they just don't seem to care, or maybe it's not aware. It's not posted well enough. I don't know what it is, but we need to really,
posted.
we really, I know it's posted, but maybe it's not well enough for them. Maybe we need to light it. I don't know, but the speed is a big factor as well on 62. It's like, even though they know it's 50, they're still going 80. And
yeah.
You know,
Is there a specific area? Is it on the downhill side of 62,
as you get
or is
down, right about when you're coming down from Yucca Valley, it's in there at 60. As it goes in to right there at Willie Boys, it turns to 50, and it's 50 down to, I believe, the Morongo grade. But I mean, even at the Senilis and 62, that stoplight, I mean, you'll have people literally stopping, and 18-wheelers are going so fast, even though the lights turn red, they have to go through because they're going so fast they can't stop. And that's where the speed is also an issue.
Okay. Thank you.
Those are just a couple ideas I had. Thank you.
Okay. No, thanks for sharing.
Right.
Would there be a possibility of us getting one of those meters that tells people what speed they're going? They have one in Yucca Valley as you go up, you know, the top of the grade, and then about another mile down, they have one of those signs that says you're going 55 when you're, you know.
Yeah.
I
mean, I don't know the answer off the top of my head, but that's something I would be more than happy to look into and see if maybe there's an opportunity to partner with the county on getting something like that funded, or absolutely. I'll look into that.
Camera, and they can send tickets to all those people.
Yeah.
That would be great.
I joked last meeting that we have a speed bump put in right there.
There you go. rip
Yeah.
out the undercarriage of everybody's car.
Oh.
Jim,
Real
is
quick, before we move forward, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, but if I could go back to Matthew Campos, I want to make sure I got all the details. Is he still on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, yes. Uh-huh.
Hey, sir. So real quick, I know that you're saying it was Park Street. There's two crosswalks. The one where the accident took place was at Park Street and 62, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, what was the other crosswalk street? I missed that one.
The other places where we have crosswalks is at the lighted intersection at 62 and Pinellas.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Mhm.
All right.
Jim, is there anyone else in the chat room that wants to speak, that has something they want to bring up with Shane?
You're muted, Jim.
Gail, nobody else has their hand raised.
Okay. All right. Do any of the board members have anything else they'd like to say? Well, Shane, thank you so
Yeah.
much for coming to our meeting. And tomorrow I will get you the email addresses of all the board members and
Cool.
and our director of operations and the office. So, and I'm assuming you'll just kind of keep in touch with us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Thank you so much, Shane.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you for
thank
being
you
here. We
for
really
inviting me.
appreciate it. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I'll start to be here more regularly. So I appreciate it. Thank you guys for the opportunity.
All right.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Now the park. Matthew, would you kind of head that up
Sure.
and tell us?
There was a couple of members of the community that asked me to put this on the agenda. They wanted to ask some questions about the park. They're curious as to, what the current status is. What are we thinking about doing? I guess they would like to know, kind of a monthly report as to what we're planning. I guess when we can open it up or whatever. So whoever had those questions, if you're here, please bring them up.
Sue, do you want to speak on that
Sure.
issue?
Yes, thank you. I
Okay.
did submit a request to speak. Thank you so much for putting this on the agenda. I just think it would be nice to see it back on the agenda regularly just because we miss it. And I know things have been
Okay.
really weird and odd and we haven't been able to, think things have kind of got sidetracked a little bit. But however, we had a really good momentum going. And first of all, I want to say that I'm here with Sharon Dove. As you may know that Sharon and I work really hard together in trying to work with the community and getting the park improvements going. And we had a really nice opportunity with, believe it was over 300 members that signed up for a petition for a grant. And we never got real formal feedback on that, although I know what the outcome is. It would be nice if the community got that. So given that, I would like to talk about, okay, I know things have kind of come to a standstill in a lot of ways, but then I also know that other things are going forward and should go forward because, we're here for the duration and the park is just languished. I don't see any improvements going. I don't see any efforts going. And maybe they are, like I say, I'm not involved, in the intimate operations, but after this whole thing shut down, it's like, well, do we have a reopening plan? Are we working on improvements? Do we have is somebody working on the disrepairs that kind of just went halted? I would really like to see somebody in the CSD board that is either doing it or allocating it to somebody who can follow up so that we're just not continuing to deteriorate. Because as you all know, if you don't work on maintenance and improvements, deterioration will ultimately create complete ruination. And I haven't seen any improvements done in the park at all. And I'm just trying to figure out what can we do as a community to work together to make sure that we are going forward. And I know there are groups that go in there and clean and do really good maintenance on it, but there's some huge infrastructure problems that take big money.
Right.
I'd like to know what's being done to follow up with the monies that that Morongo Valley has access to and hasn't responded to the state about. It's not going to be a total renovation of the park, but I'd like to know, you know, I would like the community to understand that there is an allocated bond that has been awarded to Morongo Valley for $180,000.
What?
And that bond, it's on the state website.
Where?
That bond is, there's been 2 workshops. The last one was in October. They've sent emails to Morongo Valley that have not been responded to. But that doesn't mean we have a year. We have to put together a proposal. That money has been awarded to us. It's sitting there. Somebody needs to take the ball and run with it and put together a proposal according to their guidelines. And like I said, we missed the last workshop, which was October 22nd or 21st. But if you go to the website, they will hand walk us through it. So that tell us how we can put together a project. It's not going to fix everything, but that's a lot of money. And that's been given to us. It's a per capita. They call it a grant, but it's really an allocated from a bond through the Act Proposition 68 from 2018. We were awarded that in July of 2020.
What's
Say
the
that-
website, Sue?
I can give you the name of the manager of the per capita grants. I have spoken to him.
Could you give me the website?
I can give you the website. It'd probably be better if you call him directly. I really think at this point, because it's kind of embarrassing that it looks like we just don't care. And I think if we can, you know, I've got his name and his phone number, and I would really like one of you to please reach out to him and find out what we need to do to get our act together so we can use these monies now.
Matthew, do you want to do that? Or do you want me to do that?
I'm happy to take it on.
Okay.
Okay, here's a simple question. If we were awarded a bond, were we notified of this?
They said they notified you via email.
Who they send it to? The office? What?
Yep. Yes. And I know, look, you guys, I know things have, there, a lot of flux has happened. You've had transitions, people have come and gone. I think that's what they said. They said they got no response from the emails to the CSD board.
Well, I'm sure they didn't email the board. Gary, you there? Gary, you hear me? Chief Yearsley?
Yeah, Johnny, I'm here. I pushed the button, it didn't work.
No problem.
I have not got anything from anybody on a bond, but if I can get his name and number, I'll give him a call. But I have not seen anything or been called or talked to about any bond or anything for us at all.
I can send you the spreadsheet too, because I downloaded that from their website, and I don't even, I don't have the website. I have a copy of the PDF file that I downloaded, which lists, it was actually 2 allocations. It's an allocation grant table from the manager of the per capita grants in Sacramento. And there's 2 pages. On page 26, $22,171 was allocated, and on page 13, $17,952.
I guess we need to know what email address they sent that to, because none of us got it.
Yeah,
that's for
because
sure.
you're talking state money here, so they would have to contact the office. It was sent to any of the board members. They were sent to the office. So
Well,
they,
If you just
old road
give
runner,
me, give me the guy's name and number and I will call him because we have seen nothing come in here and there's two of us that check all of the emails all the time. So give me what you have and I'll start working on it.
Awesome.
because a good possibility was coming from the state. Just using the old road runner email address, which we have no access to. So of course the office wouldn't have it.
Yeah,
And it is
could be.
funny.
Could have changed. That's true.
And also, it is kind of funny because a while back, I'm talking about like January, I was actively trying to pursue that per capita money. And
I
I got
remember
in
that.
touch with a couple of people in their office and they said, oh, don't worry, when we have the guidelines or whatever to claim it, we'll let you guys know. And I never got any feedback, even though I followed up with them probably 3 times.
Yeah, I
You
remember you
get the
doing that,
name.
Christina. I remember that. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
We talked about per camper grab before, you're right.
Uh-huh. And they never followed up with me at all. So I've been trying to call them at least 3 times I tried. So but it's good to know that it's out there and now we know we need to claim it. So Sue, thanks a lot for pursuing it.
Yes.
And Sharon, please
And
thank
Sharon, too.
Sharon. She's really bird dogged this hard. And we have 1 year to put together a project in order to claim this money.
We
I'd
can
like
do
to
that.
make a comment about the projects too, because I know not everybody's been with us this whole time, but when we started talking about getting money for these projects, we actually had a group of community members come and help rip up the floor in what used to be the children's library. And then it was determined that the slab actually needs to be replaced. So there's money there. Then we talked about, with some other groups, we talked about doing some playground work, which everybody knows definitely needs help. And then we also had to spend money to update the kitchen. I'm just mentioning this because we are aware of all of the things that we wish we could do. But as far as I remember, there was another grant that we applied for and we did not get the grant. Because I'm answering your question from the beginning of what you said, Sue. We never got the grant. Does that make sense?
Yes, and thank you. And I just want to, again, transparency with the community, feedback. We had 300 people signed up, to petition for that grant. Correct, we didn't get it. How come? What were we missing? Should we do it again? Is it a waste of time? I mean, I just want to, let's not quit. You don't just quit.
Yeah, exactly.
Sue, what is you said we have 1 year to do the projects. When did that year start?
I do not know. I know it was,
okay.
I know it was allocated in July.
Okay.
Have a year.
Of this
Christina?
year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember, we got to go back to about 2011, 2012. We had the same problem with the, we had been awarded some money. That's when they built the first skate park. Remember that?
I actually, that predates me. I wasn't here for the skateboard money. I wasn't here for that.
Okay.
But I know
Yeah,
that it was really nice because I know some citizens helped Gail put that recent playground grant together.
Mhm.
And then I volunteered a long time, I don't know how long it was. This one, Darren Sandin was on the board and we wrote one for fuel reduction for the park.
I remember that.
And I volunteered my time to write that, but we didn't get that funded either because sometimes we're just like a very small community compared to other places. So we didn't get that one, but that's nice that there's a bond issue and that it's per capita. And like I said, I was following up and then they never let me know what was going on.
And can I make one more comment? Because there's some people on the chat saying, something about coronavirus, put things on hold. I understand the park can't be utilized, but it makes no sense to put maintaining and improving our infrastructure on hold. People are putting in solar, they're making improvements. This is the time, if we have the money now, we should be prepping now for when we can reopen. I'm not saying reopen now, but let's get the park back to it's beautiful, pristine condition. If we have the money, let's start making those improvements now.
Yes,
Even if we can't open it, doesn't matter. We need
right.
to use the money that's been allocated and pursue
Yes.
additional monies if there are.
Yeah, we need to get the money.
That's right.
It's there.
According to this, we have $177,952 allocated to us.
Plus 2171 on page 26. So it's almost 180,000.
181,000.
Okay, well, put all that information in at the office, will you, Sue?
I will.
Okay, Sharon, would you like to say some?
I just wanted to say, Christina, that allocation was delayed about 6, 7, 8 months, something like that. It was supposed to go through in January, and it just kind of disappeared. I was following it, and there was nothing. And then all of a sudden, it came through July 1st.
Okay, yeah, so we were probably, thank you. We were probably on the same path, you know, trying, and then it just disappeared.
Yeah, and then actually Sue brought it up, and then I dug in, and there it was. And
well, thank you so much.
Yeah, we have approximately a year from now to submit a project, get it approved, and then we have to have another year to complete the project.
Well, maybe what we should do is, because we already have about 4 or 5 proposals that we've already written, you know, but they haven't gotten funded, we could put it out to like a community survey or something and say, well, one of the ideas that we have is to improve the baseball diamond. One of the places that we have is to improve the kitchen. You know, and that costs about this much, you know, because we've already got prices and everything. Another one is to reduce the fuels, you know, that could burn in the park, and that costs about this much, because we were going to get like a new tractor and a bunch of other things. So we could put like a little survey together and just see what the community wants.
And I think that when we did
wait a minute. Stop. Go ahead, Sharon.
I was going to say, when we did all that quoting on that equipment, which Gail knows, you know, I think there was a lot of wiggle room in there. And I think that in this economic environment, we could really be aggressive and get a really nice phase 1 done. And so obviously I'd really like to see that playground equipment done.
Right. Yeah, me too. Okay, I agree.
I think.
Okay, Johnny.
We need to slow down just a little bit here for one thing. Like I said, we went through this back, I want to say it's 2010, 2011. They did the update the skateboard park. And the problem was that money was only for park usage.
That's
They
right.
could do nothing else but work in the park. So before we start looking at plans of getting, looking at everything else, why don't we find out what that bond is for?
I know exactly.
Only the park, or only, once we find that out, then we can start looking forward into, doing surveys and everything else. I don't think we should do a survey and ask people what they want to do, and then find out we can't use the money for that.
Okay,
Miss Dove already knows.
I did. Of course, I was focused on the playground equipment, and I asked them, I quadruple checked everything to make sure I didn't get anything wrong. But the playground equipment is the only thing I asked about, and that's absolutely qualifies, no question about it. So that's that.
I'm sorry. Are you aware that we already have an ad hoc committee? We've never had anybody coming to it. What would be your preferred method that we get information out to the community? We don't have that newsletter anymore.
Social media. I mean, we have like 4 websites and Nextdoor and something else. I think there's like 5 different places would be, and Z107.
Yeah. So we do already have a committee set up, ad hoc committee for risk management and public relations. So I'd be certainly willing to get together with both you ladies and start working on it. But Johnny's right. We need to know what the money can be used for before we go asking what to put it on.
I know it will qualify for that. The thing is there's no match required and it is restricted to the park. But the equipment is, I mean, the playground equipment, I'm positive, because that's my primary interest is the playground. It totally qualifies. There's no question about it.
That's
We just had a
will-
lot of
the-
projects we had a lot of projects that the community wanted to do, and we did a survey at one point, and a lot of people were interested in the baseball fields as well. So we just, you know, we just have to, like, you know, see how much money we have and see what the grant will be able to pay for the per capita bond and that kind of thing. But I was just thinking it would be nice to have the community give their input about what they'd like once we find out, you know, all the specs on it.
Right. So, Mr. Yearsley, you're gonna check into that, right?
Yes, well, if she gets me the name and that phone number, I'll talk with them personally. And then we'll go through it and find out what it actually covers, all items that it'll cover. And then we'll sit down and get a plan set up with a committee of what everybody wants and what we can use, what's legal to use on that amount of money.
My recommendation would be, and I'm sure you'll figure this out when you talk to him, is they have a workshop, which we missed, but they'll hand walk us through it. And at that workshop, they will explain what it can be used for and how we can put together a project proposal.
Okay, great. Was there anybody in the chat room that had, I've been seeing some things on my screen, but it's not a full sentence, so I don't know what they're talking about. Have you been sending me anything, Jim?
Bobby has her hand up.
Oh, okay, Bobby?
Hi there. One other thing, I remember the last time we got one of these bonds, and I know that everybody keeps talking about the ball field, which would be absolutely wonderful if we could do work to it. But at the last bond, I remember that we could not use it for anything other than only Morongo Valley property. And since the ball field is actually owned by San Bernardino County, and we rent it for a very small lease every year, we would not be able to, well, the last bond, we were not able to put anything to the ball field because it wasn't our property. It was a leased property. So that is definitely something that's going to have to be looked into as to whether it could even possibly be used towards that. Because like I said, the last bond, we could not use it for anything other than Morongo Valley property.
Agreed.
Okay.
And I would like to ask if Gary, when you look into that, can you contact me and Sharon and Sue? Because we need to set a meeting for a committee meeting on this once we know.
Well, if we'd like to do that, I can get the information and then that committee can just take what we've got and then put together members that they want in it. And then they can discuss it that way. We can come up with a plan of what everybody wants once we find out what that will cover.
Okay. How long do you think it'll take before you can?
Well, as soon as I get the information, if I get it tomorrow, I'll call them tomorrow. And as soon as I get the information here and then find out when the workshop's going to be, then we can get the information.
All righty.
Wait, how do I raise my hand?
Yes, Sharon.
Oh, you can see
Sharon.
me. I can't find that raising. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I want to just tell you that just to kind of close this up, there seemed to be a little confusion about the other grant that we all tried so hard on. And I don't remember when we found out. I guess it was, I don't know, the end of the year or something. Anyway, we did a great job. It was a little bit skewed against us because it was skewed more towards high density, which would be more urban, inner city,
Right.
and the preserve really hurt us. But I think we did a great job. I just want you to know that what was available to be given out was 254 million, and they had applications for 2.3 billion.
Oh my
It was
goodness.
very competitive. And then they awarded 64 applications, but they had 478 apply. So it
Right.
was competitive, but we did a good job.
Yeah. Well, and we have all that information. We might be able to use that in working on this grant.
It's more of an allocation. I mean, the money's just sitting there ready for you.
Yeah, but they want
They
to
want
see our
something, I
plan.
know. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, I'm sure Lori and Sue and Sharon, with the help of Mr. Yearsley, will get this all together, and we will all help in whatever way we can, because our community needs it. And I agree that the playground equipment is desperately needed. So we will all work on that together. Thank you so much for bringing that to our attention.
I'd like to
Anybody?
I'd like to put my 2 cents in on the playground equipment. Because the park is the jewel of Morongo Valley besides the preserve. And I know that a lot of people come, they used to come from all around to come and enjoy our park. And that playground equipment is the crown jewel right there in there. And to see that wooden, whatever it is that we have there now, is really a black eye for us. And I think that getting rid of that appropriately, and I mean, I know that playground equipment, there's a lot to it because it's got to be certified by somebody that is certified to certify it. There's a lot of hoops to jump through. But even if we begin with something that we can then build upon and put something there as a foundation, this isn't going to last forever. And that's the focal point. You go into the park and it's the playground equipment, and to see it destroyed, to see yellow caution tape and everything else on it is just, it's very depressing. So I think spending the money and building a good plan to begin, at least put the foundations on a nice little playground apparatus would be the way to go.
Yes, and starting in January, Christina Gorky, who's very interested in the park and equipment for the kids, will be on the board. So she will be another advocate for that starting next year. So thank you, everybody. I know Gary will get right on this as soon as he gets the information. Thank you so much, Sharon and Sue. We really appreciate it.
I look forward to something getting done. There's a lot of roadblocks in the way, so let's see what we got and try to go from there.
All right. So let's move on now to, well, the Risk Management and Public Relations Ad Hoc Committee. It looks like that's going to be taken care of. You're going to work on this park project, right?
That's what the intent is, yes.
Okay, all right. So is there anything else you want to add on that?
I don't know. I'm still going to say the same thing I've been saying for two years, however long I've been on this board. The communication needs help. We need to have, for example, our website. We have our website now. We finally got it when it was required by the state. But I looked at it occasionally, and there is no information on there that I would want as a consumer, as a member of the community. And I can't do it, but somebody needs to take charge of putting that community information out there, just like when we used to have the newsletter. People want the information, they want to communicate, and yes, it's got to be on social media and all that, but the website still has not jumped up to the level I thought we should have in terms of newsletter, information for our community. And all of the things we've spoken about tonight should be addressed. That's my opinion.
Okay, okay. Thanks. Oh, now we're on the Morongo Valley Community Service District and Fire Department Funding Ad Hoc Committee. No, we're on the Fire Apparatus Driving Parameters Ad Hoc Committee. I don't think anything's happening with that right now. Is there,
I have
No.
nothing.
Christina?
No, not with
Okay.
all the OES
Yeah,
assistance we've been doing. No.
I have
okay.
nothing.
Thanks, Johnny. All right, Morongo Valley Community Services District and Fire Department Funding Ad Hoc Committee. I would like to suggest that in January, we have a special meeting, a meeting besides our regular meeting, and we can decide a date in December to bring to the community all of the issues we have with funding, with the amount of money we get, with what we need, and where we're headed. And so for my report tonight on that committee, I would like to suggest that we do have a special meeting in January, and we will decide in December when we'll have that meeting. Because it'll take up a whole, I'm sure it'll take at least an hour or two to look at all of the funding that we're getting, what we need, what we've been spending, and to try to get a more realistic picture to the community of what we need and how we're spending their money. I know we do monthly reports, but they get kind of complicated, and there's a lot to read, and there's a lot of fine print, and I'm not sure everybody truly understands what it all means. So I would like to bring that to the community in January. Are there any other questions or suggestions for that committee? Okay, let's move on to the consent calendar. Minutes of the regular board meeting of October 21st, 2020. Does anybody have any additions or corrections to those minutes? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the October 21st, 2020 regular meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Cash check disbursements and credit card purchases, which with a total of 67,391 cents. Are there any questions or things that anybody'd like to talk about on the credit card purchases and the cash disbursements? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved as presented.
Johnny,
Second.
Christina, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. New business. Resolution 20-05, Cal OES 3-year disaster relief assistance. Mr. Yearsley, will you give us a rundown on that, please?
Yeah, this is just a resolution. So Cal OES and FEMA knows who that they are going to work with on any of the disaster reliefs, the COVID plan that we had, where we sent in for about $97,000 worth of reimbursements. This is a resolution so they know who that they are going to be working with, and the position is named, and then there's going to be a cover letter telling who is in the positions at that time. We elected to go with the 2-stage where it pretty much, the resolution just tells the position of the person they're going to deal with in case there's any changes in the personnel. That way you don't have to do a new contract every time. In the 3 years, if somebody changed, you just send them an updated letter on who the new person in that position is. So that's which way we elected to go. So it's just anytime we have to work with OES or FEMA, this is a resolution for them to know who they're going to work with.
Are there any questions?
Isn't that
Um,
the document Matthew sent us to read? I think.
yeah, it says resolution 20-05.
I remember reading it. That's, I can't remember where I saw it though.
Yes, it should be with your packets.
Yeah. So, shall I go ahead and start reading the resolution?
Sure.
Resolution 20-05. A resolution for the Board of Directors of the Morongo Valley Community Services District designating the general manager on behalf of the district. Shouldn't that say the Director of Operations, Mr.
Yeah.
Yearsley?
Change it.
Yeah. All right, the Director of Operations on behalf of the district to be the authorized agent to engage with the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, and the Governor's Office of Emergency Services, Cal OES, regarding grants applied for by the Morongo Valley Community Services District. Whereas the Morongo Valley Community Services District seeks to apply for federal emergency management, FEMA, and California reimbursements for costs incurred for emergency response services. And whereas the Governor's Office of Emergency Services, Cal OES, administers the state and federal reimbursement process and grant programs for emergency and disaster relief. And whereas Cal OES Form 130 requires the Morongo Valley Community Services District to designate agents to engage with FEMA and Cal OES regarding assistance and grants applied for by the district. And whereas the Morongo Valley Community Services District desires to ensure that Form 130 makes the district eligible to apply for future disaster incidents for 3 years.
Madam
Now,
President,
therefore, yes,
at this point, we can waive further reading of the resolution if you
Okay.
wish.
thank you. So do I have a motion to approve this resolution with the change of putting in the
Changing the
Director of
title.
Operations?
So
Say that
moved.
again, Johnny.
I move we accept the resolution 20-05 with the change in the title from general manager to director of operations.
I'll second Johnny's motion.
This does
All
require
those-
a roll call vote, if you notice the bottom of the page.
Roll call vote, Mr. Yearsley.
Gail Swart,
Aye.
Matthew Campos,
Aye.
Christina Brook,
Aye.
Lori Klimowitz. Lori
Lori?
Klimowitz,
You can't hear me? Can you
Nope.
not
okay.
Now we can.
Yes.
Okay,
Johnny Tolbert,
Aye.
okay. The resolution passes as changed. Okay, now, Fire Chief Day Pay recommendation. It is recommended that the Board of Directors discuss and approve a method of pay for the fire chief when hours are worked outside of the scheduled pay shifts. As I understand it, and Mr. Yearsley, you correct me if I'm wrong. There are days that the Director of Operations has to stay here for emergencies, or especially when we were doing all that OES work on the fires, that we need to find a way to reimburse him for that extra time. And at one point, I think he was willing to take at least some of that time, not be paid for it, but have take a day as part of his day off. I don't know what the word is that you want to call that, but we need to we need to decide what to do so that Bonnie has no problems in doing what we have directed.
so do you want, let me
So-
go real quick, Gail, actually.
Sure.
What it is, it's, I usually, if it's just a day here and there or whatever it might be, I'll just switch out a day where I'll, just take another day off. but sometimes that's hard to do. Or like when I was on the Apple fire, it ended up being more than 10 days. It's kind of hard to take 10 days off. So all this was for, like when we did this, Bob and I were both working that fire extra days. So Bob, I was able to put through for his extra days, but when it comes to me, I can't put in, the board has to agree and have minutes showing what they want or how they want me paid. So basically what we did with him is we took his wage divided by the days he works, and then any extra days he worked for the Apple fire, we just paid him those extra days at that extra amount. So Bonnie mentioned the fact that the board, she would like some direction from the board for me because I was putting in for my own hours. So that's what this is. Most of the time, if I have to put in extra hours for something, I just take it off on another day. So if that's what this was about, in order to cover, just a second, we're getting a call. I just, till it's done. Okay, sorry about that, but that's all it is. I do expect the regular times just to still trade them out, but like that being 10 days long, or even last year, it was 17 days. It's hard to take that many extra days off. So this is just how she would be able to determine what the pay for the extra days would be. So it just divides your pay by the amount of days you work, and then any extra days is an add-on. Now, that doesn't come out of the general account. That would be charged back to the events that we're on, whether it be the Apple fire, whether it be another fire that we have to stay for. So it would not change our budgeted amount for payroll at all.
So do you want it in writing that we approve of you taking a day off for a day that you've had to work at your discretion? And then if it gets to be too many days, we will pay you for those days by dividing your director of operations pay and figure out what the daily rate is. Is that how you'd like it done, or is that
I
your
think
suggestion?
right now we already have in there that I'll take a switch out day, or whatever you want to call it, take a day off if I have to work an extra day. I think we have that in the agreement that was done with that Christina wrote up. But this is the days that are, like when you have 10 days, it's hard to take 10 days off. So all this is giving Bonnie some idea of what the board's direction would be on how to pay me for extra days that so that's all it would be, is at the same rate I'm already getting paid for. It would just pay the same amount for any extra days that were put in. And the money, so the board knows where that's coming from, would come out of our whatever strike team or whatever standby or whatever we had to do that would keep me.
It's part of the OES money, Gail.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly, Johnny.
First of all, I think we do need to look at your employment agreement and the job description, because honestly, I do not believe that I had anything in there about compensatory time off. Because I think I would have remembered that. So we kind of do need to look at that. And if we need to amend your agreement, we could amend your agreement. But I think the word you guys are struggling for is compensatory time. So
we could just add that in here, since your memory is that it's not in there. So then that would take.
I mean, I'd have to look. I mean, I honestly don't have that job description or the agreement open on my computer right now. I mean, I'd be glad to look at it. And if it's not in there, we could definitely put it up to the board in December to add a clause about compensatory time. But there's an ongoing issue besides you being on call, because of course you get paid for your 8-hour shift, but if you're on a strike team, then you're there for 24 hours, not just 8 hours. And there's also the whole thing about how we're looking for a stipended person because we need people to do, the hours. The same thing we got into the situation where you were working beyond your shift to do the night hours, which are not part of your shift. So while we're at it, we should be looking at that as well.
Okay, well, I just needed to get that put through. Bonnie's been waiting to do it, and we kind of been busy with everything else. So I was just gonna work on the extra days now. And we could just add on the fact of the extra days could be swapped out for other days that I would take off. So it's
Well, I
whatever
think
the
we
board
need to look
wants
at that
do, the
agreement. I
direction.
think we need to know if it's in there, and I think we need to, if it's not in there, we need to bring it here and we can have another meeting if we need to do that, but I don't think we can just say that. And plus, I need to see the calculations. I want to see how many days this is involved and so forth, and we don't have that in our packet. So I'm happy to do another meeting, but I'd really like to see how many hours are we talking about, and which ones are going to be compensatory, and how
I'm not muted.
Yeah, I would
Christina?
want to see review it as well.
Hey, Christina?
Yeah.
One thing about that is, if I understand what he's talking about, the hours are gonna change every time due to the fact this is OES, this is emergency. He had to do 10 days one time, do another fire, he could do 5, 6 weeks.
I realize that, but I'm sure he knows. I mean, he can go back to July or whenever it was that we started to have the fire season, and he could show us all those days and all those hours that were worked.
Right.
And then he can show us, okay, he took a compensatory time for that and he didn't for this. And, we just need to have some kind of actual memorandum written so we can see the calculation.
Also, please keep in mind that since he's the general manager / director of operations, we cannot do anything compensation wise for him outside of a regular meeting. So we can't call a special meeting where we're going to give him days off or any more money on his compensation, because we have the law to deal with. We can only do that in a regular meeting.
Right.
So I don't, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying don't call a special, because if we can't do it in a special.
Okay. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. Thank you for clarifying that. And I'm sorry, but my computer that's on is in the shop right now. I do have an external hard drive, so I can look and see tomorrow whether that compensatory time was in the agreement or not. Or, Gary and Gail, you have, actually, all the board members have copies of that.
I have a copy
Yes.
of it.
So you can look and see and search for the word compensatory, but I don't remember it being in there.
Okay.
Is it okay with everybody if we put that on December's agenda?
Well, I'm wanting to make sure it's okay with Chief Yearsley because it mostly impacts him right now. But I mean, I think it's fair for us to be asking for facts and figures, and fair to be checking the employment agreement and the job description.
Okay.
Well, the thing is, Christina, keep in mind that Lori's right. We have to do it our next meeting. But since we can only do compensation in a regular meeting, Lori's right. I don't want to have to hold Gary up. He deserves the time off. He put the time in. But unfortunately, we have the laws to deal with. So Lori's correct. We should go ahead right now and agree to put it on the December agenda. And that gives him and you time to look everything up, so we're ready for it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I can't just approve it right this second.
So Gary, will you get all that information for us before the next meeting so we can look at it, and then we can go through it at the next regular meeting?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and in time for us to go through it before the meeting. I mean, not an hour.
I really would like to see an update about how we're doing on finding a stipended person, because Gary's agreement with us, his settlement with us, was only through May. And I'm sure he's been doing other hours besides emergency strike team and OES. And he's been doing that, generously for us. And I don't want us to get into another jam, with a labor problem. So we should probably be looking at that as well. I mean, I don't know, Gary might say, I don't want any compensation for that. I'm all right, but I it's kind of like an issue that we need to stay on top of because his agreement only lasted through the end of May. So we've already had
Right.
June through now where he's been probably doing beyond the strike team stuff, for us. And we don't want to get into that situation again.
But
Okay.
keep in mind, Christina, that is employee hiring, and that doesn't come to us unless it's the manager. The only thing we would do would be getting an update on, if he's hired, if he hasn't hired, something like that. But we have no say in it.
Well, yeah, that's right. But we could know how's the hiring going?
Yeah,
Is it going okay for the stipended person, or has it been flown, or whatever. But I just don't want us to get into a situation where we have now again 6 months of pay that could be a labor problem, which
Makes
is what
sense,
was
yeah.
brought to our attention by our accountant.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So
Okay,
while
so
we're at
we'll-
it, maybe we should look at all that.
And
Okay.
since this question was also brought up by Bonnie, I would like to get her input as to what her recommendation would be as to how to calculate.
That'd be a good idea.
Fair enough.
Okay, was she in on the meeting tonight? Was she here tonight, Jim?
No, she was not.
Okay, thank you. So, well, this is going to be something we're going to have to discuss at the December meeting. Mr. Yearsley, if you'll get all the information together on what we're talking about, and we'll look up the compensatory time on your agreement, and we'll all work together to get that for the next meeting.
Okay.
Right.
And we usually get all the paperwork like 3 or 4 days beforehand. So I'm thinking that's enough time for us to look it over.
Yeah.
Well, you usually get it on Thursday when we post it. You should be Thursday night getting it, and then the meeting's
Okay.
not till the next Wednesday.
So
Okay.
I'm sort of picturing there would be a column on your table or something that would show us your OES emergency time, and then the other time that you've been helping beyond, your shift, for like what we would call duty coverage.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So probably keep those two columns separated,
Okay. Mr. Yearsley, have you been paid for the time that you've spent on the OES? Have you submitted a bill to the district for that?
That's why this came up, is because Bonnie wanted me to get the direction from the board first. We talked about it
Okay.
over the days, but she didn't know what the board's direction was on how to pay. So before she did it, she wanted that.
Okay,
Well,
was
did you already
everyone,
have an
was,
invoice though? Did you already submit an invoice?
No, it wouldn't be an invoice, hours and days, but I'll get everything to you guys on what it is. And then we can have Bonnie on to tell you guys what she thinks, and we'll just go from there. I'll just get you the hours of both things, and I'll also have a
Okay.
report on the duty officer situation.
Perfect.
okay, and was everyone else paid that worked the OES time? Has everybody else been paid
Yes,
besides you?
everybody else that did OES got their overtime, got their time on all the fires and all the standbys. And Chief Springer got his hours for during the Apple fire and the time he put in.
Okay, so you're the only
Everybody's
one
paid.
that hasn't gotten paid so far.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we'll have that on December's agenda.
Yeah, and somebody make sure that Bonnie's aware and she's gonna be at that meeting so we can make a decision.
Yes, okay,
Thank you.
we will do that. Anybody else? Okay, individual directors reports, Vice President Brooke.
I just wanted to thank Christina Gorky for doing the Halloween
Mhm.
extravaganza of the festivities.
Yeah.
That was really nice of her. And I want to thank the businesses in town that participated, the Weekend Market, the All-American Gas Station, and the Monument Bar and Grill. That was really nice. And congratulations to her and to Johnny for taking on another 4 years. New for Christina, but Johnny, thank you for your continued service to our community. And, you know, I think that's probably about it. Just stay safe during the holidays, or you're going to be gathering with other family members, and the COVID is on the rise, and we need to be super careful.
Thanks, Christina.
Mhm.
Lori, Director Klimowitz.
Same thing I always basically say, because Christina gets to go first. What she said.
Oh, sorry, Lori. Next time you go
Okay.
first.
I'm just kidding. I did want to say happy Thanksgiving. Everybody take a little break. These days it's hard to take a break. Those of us who are movers and shakers. So I hope everybody has a little bit of time with their families. And that goes out to our great fire department as well. And I hope all those guys somewhere in all this mess find some peace. So thank you.
Thanks, Lori. Director Campos.
Thank you. Again, I also want to express my thanks to all of the members of the Morongo Valley Fire Department and the Morongo Valley Community Services District. You guys do stellar work, and I really appreciate your dedication, your efforts, your continued support. You guys work hard out there, and there's, you know, you guys and gals, and I just really appreciate what you do. Again, unfortunately, we had an opportunity for free COVID testing and flu shots here. This was Monday. I sent out a flyer to everyone, and we tried to get the word out as best we could on the very short notice that we got. But the thing is that we also have another opportunity coming up on December 2nd. So we've got
Right.
more time now, and I do have the flyers that I sent out. I've made several copies of it, so I'll be passing that out to the businesses around town to make sure that they've got it posted. And hopefully you all have Facebook or whatever it is that you can also put it out there and let people know that they can come in and get COVID tested and get a flu shot. So we're really happy about that. And I know that the medical van is planning on coming back once it is kind of released to do so from COVID. You know, it was that situation that stopped them from coming, just as we were really kind of getting started. And I know that they're planning on coming back. So we're going to have that opportunity at least once a month again coming, hopefully soon in next year, and that'll be really nice. This is my last full meeting on the board, so I just wanted to express my thanks and gratitude to everyone here. It was 5 years since we had to adjust for our elections, and but I'll say more about that next month. But I am moving on into other things. In fact, I just accepted an appointment to the Board of Governors for the High Desert Medical Clinic.
Oh,
Great.
nice.
I'll be meeting with them now and working as on the Board of Governors for the hospital. So I'm really excited about that opportunity.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So be safe out there. I'm having a Zoom Thanksgiving this year. I'm not traveling to see my folks, but we're all getting together on Zoom, and we're trying to arrange our schedules so that, you know, we can all at least be together for a little bit, virtually at
Right.
least. And so I'll be here, and that, you know, be different. But I think we're all kind of getting used to this new paradigm.
Yeah, I
hope.
I
guess.
don't want to get too used to it, but there's some things that have been kind of good about it,
Matthew, on the COVID testing, it says on the thing that you're supposed to call for an appointment. Is that how it's supposed to work?
You know what? I'm going to verify that with them, but yes, that's what they did ask that. And I think partly because they have several other locations. So you don't have to do it just here when it comes to Morongo Valley. They do have other locations that you can
Okay.
call and go to. But yes, they said that they wanted appointments.
Okay.
Hey, Matthew.
Yes, sir.
I was down there for the 2 hours. Let me add in there that you did a very, very good job because we had a line of cars for the whole 2 hours and actually went 20 minutes after. There was a lot of people in line. You did a good job of getting it out there. Everybody that was working on it did. They took everybody through. They did the COVID testing on everybody that went through, whether they knew they were coming or not. They had a really good group there and they were moving them through good. It was a really big success.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew, for getting that for our community. We really appreciate that.
You're welcome. That's it for me.
Johnny, Mr. Tolbert?
First and foremost, always, thank you to the men and women of the Morongo Valley Fire Department. The work you put in is unbelievable. Thank you very much. To the district staff, once again, thank you. You put in a lot of hard work for us. Also, I'd like to thank the community for their trust in me for my re-election. Thank you very much. I will continue to work hard for you as I have in the past and always will. Does everybody, also on the people who know about it, tomorrow, Operation Gobble will take place. Golden State Water did come through for us. They got us the money, and I understand that our director of operations will be picking up turkeys tomorrow for people who already signed up for it. So I'm glad to see it happen. I was kind of worried we weren't going to get that this year due to COVID, but Golden State Water stepped up to help us out once again. So there will be citizens in our town who couldn't afford to get a turkey will be receiving a free turkey tomorrow. So I'm very glad to see that happen also.
Good, good.
Especially going to the holidays. Otherwise than that, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Please be safe. As a lot of you know, I'm part of the county CERT team. Well, not county CERT team, but Basin CERT team. And I've been getting a lot of information from county OES. San Bernardino County numbers for COVID are going through the roof. We are picking up as one of the leading ones in the state of California. So please, everybody, be careful. If you're at your house, put your mask on. If you don't have to go out, stay home. I know it sucks being locked in your house, but the alternative is so much worse. That's all I have.
Thanks, Johnny. I would like to thank, of course, our men and women of the fire department for all the hard work they did and how they helped so much other communities during the fires. I also want to thank Chief Brakebill and Chief Yearsley for them coordinating all this and keeping everything running smoothly. It's a really testament to their ability to, in the positions that they're in. And thank you so much. This community will be getting a nice chunk of money through the efforts of our firemen and firewomen and our two chiefs. So thank you both very much for that. Yes, I know it's hard. The COVID thing is hard, but just imagine if you lived in an apartment building in New York City. We have so much to be grateful for here where we live. We are more distant from people, and we have a beautiful environment to be in. So all anybody's asking is when you go out, wear a mask. I mean, it's not that hard. And they're saying now that if every single person would do that, we could cut 90% of the people getting COVID. So think of yourself, think of your neighbors, think of your parents, think of your children, and be, you know, my mother would say, be a mensch, stand up for what's right. So we will see you in December. What is the date? December 16th for our next regular board meeting. Thank you everyone that listened in and came, and we're really glad to see the community coming forward to a lot of this stuff. Thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
We're adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye now.